Welcome to Literary Journeys with River. Today we bring you the complete summary of House of Sky and Breath, the second book in Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City series. Remember, this is just a summary, not the full book, but it captures every revelation, emotion, and turning point that makes this saga truly unforgettable. If you enjoy our work, subscribe and turn on notifications. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your engagement helps YouTube recommend the channel and helps us grow together. Let's begin. Prologue. Sophie survived 2 weeks in the Kavala concentration camp, hiding her Vanir nature to save her life and that of her brother Emil. During her mission to rescue him, Sophie led a daring escape, freeing 12 children and using her Thunderbird power to eliminate the Necrowolves. With Silver's help, she managed to bring the children to Servast Port, where the Bodegraven awaited them. However, the Hind, a ruthless deer shifter, pursued her. Sophie sacrificed her own life to ensure Emil and the others escape, facing off against the Necrowolves and Pippa's betrayal. In the end, Sophie was captured by the Hind and thrown to the bottom of the sea with lead chains. As she sank into the cold waters, her only solace was knowing that Emil had escaped and was safe, keeping the hope of the rebellion alive. Chapter 1. Bryce Quinlan attends the Crescent City Ballet to support her friend Juniper Andromeda, who is the star of the night. Despite the crowd, Bryce feels the eyes of those who recognize her as the heroine who saved the city, although thousands died before her triumph. While waiting for the show to begin, her parents Ember and Randall accompany her. Ember takes the opportunity to question her about her work at the Fae Archives and her relationship with Hunt Athalar, though Bryce evades the topic. During the performance, Hunt arrives at the box, and their presence draws the attention of the Fae nobility. Bryce's power remains evident, especially when her star shines involuntarily, attracting uncomfortable glances. Despite the unease, Hunt supports her and manages to calm her down, reminding her that they are together now and that he will always protect her. Chapter 2. After the ballet, Bryce and Hunt attend a party hosted by Ruhn, gathering numerous guests from different houses. Although the crowd continues to watch them, Hunt remains unfazed, accustomed to the attention they attract. Bryce reunites with Juniper and Fury, who celebrate the dancer's success. The conversation shifts to the growing tension between Bryce and Hunt due to their agreement to wait until winter solstice to become intimate, which they both endure as torture. Meanwhile, Hunt receives unsettling news. Celestina, an archangel with a benevolent reputation, has been assigned to the city, raising suspicions about the Asteri's true motives. Despite the uncertainty, Bryce tries to stay positive, assuring Hunt that, if necessary, she will protect them both with her power. Chapter 3. Ruhn enjoys the party at his house until the detection of an anomaly breaks the calm. A strange aura surrounds the property, activating security sensors designed by Declan. Ruhn and Flynn prepare to investigate while they search for Bryce and Hunt, who also sense the threat. Suddenly, a portal of shadows opens at the entrance of the house. Bryce and Hunt position themselves to face the danger alongside Ruhn and his team. Bryce's star shines again, signaling the presence of powerful magic. From the shadows emerges a familiar figure, a golden-haired fae bringing a threat that could change everything. Chapter 4. Bryce and Hunt's party is interrupted when Cormac, a fae from Avalon, arrives announcing that he is Bryce's cousin and is there to meet his future wife. Bryce and Hunt are stunned to hear that her marriage has been arranged by the Autumn King and the High King of Avalon. Cormac demonstrates his power by manipulating shadows and fire, making it clear that he is not an easy enemy. Bryce's star continues to shine brightly, alerting everyone to her growing power. Cormac confirms that Bryce has the Astrogene gift, making her a key piece in strengthening alliances between the Fae houses. Despite the threats, Bryce rejects Cormac and makes it clear that she will never be his wife. As Cormac leaves, he delivers a veiled warning, "See you at the altar," leaving Bryce, Hunt, and their friends uneasy about the future. Chapter 5. Bryce rushes to change her parents' travel plans to get them out of the city before they learn about the forced engagement. Hunt, concerned for their safety, suggests telling them the truth, but Bryce fears Ember and Randall's impulsive reaction. Fury and Juniper help ensure that no information from the party leaks. As Bryce plans how to protect her parents, Ruhn, Declan, and Flynn drink in silence, reflecting on their confrontation with Cormac. Bryce shares with Hunt her theory that the Autumn King is playing a longer game, using her engagement to provoke reactions that could harm her. The night ends with Bryce and Hunt reflecting on their feelings and the complexity of their lives, now that their destinies seem controlled by external forces seeking to manipulate their power. Chapter 6. Tharian Ketos, punished by the River Queen, finds himself on a vessel in the turbulent waters of the Haldron Sea, searching for the body of Sophie Renast, a rebel spy. The submarine's transmission reveals lead blocks with open shackles, but no body. Tharian suspects that Sophie may have freed herself or that someone arrived before him to rescue her. Upon learning of the situation, the River Queen orders Tharian to find either Sophie or her brother Emil, who also possesses a powerful gift. Bound by his loyalty to the Queen and his relationship with her daughter, Tharian accepts the mission without question, though he suspects that finding these siblings may have dangerous consequences for everyone involved. Chapter 7. Ithan Holstrom arrives at Bryce and Hunt's apartment, severely injured after being beaten by Sabine and the wolves. Amelie brought him there out of pity. Bryce and Hunt take care of him, though tensions between Hunt and Ithan are palpable. Ithan reveals that he was punished for publicly defending Bryce in an article where he disproved Sabine's lies. Bryce allows him to stay, and during the night, they talk about Connor, revealing that Connor saw Bryce as his mate. This painful memory leaves Bryce with mixed feelings. Meanwhile, Hunt struggles to contain his frustration over Ithan's presence in their home, feeling jealousy and distrust toward the wolf. Despite everything, Bryce offers Ithan refuge, remembering their old friendship and knowing that he now has nowhere else to go. Chapter 8. Ruhn confronts the Autumn King and Cormac about Bryce's engagement, questioning their motives. Cormac reveals that Hypaxia, Ruhn's betrothed, is the sister of the Hind, a key piece in the rebellion. The Autumn King insists that Bryce must marry Cormac to preserve the purity of the bloodline and strengthen the royal houses. Ruhn discovers that his father values Cormac more as a son than he does Ruhn himself. Cormac provokes Ruhn by suggesting that their destinies are similar, leaving Ruhn worried about potential betrayal. As he leaves the meeting, Ruhn feels that his fate is sealed, recalling the oracle's words that predicted his bloodline would end with him. The pressure to maintain alliances and protect Bryce leaves him feeling powerless against his father's relentless authority. Chapter 9. Bryce talks with Hunt during lunch, joking about the arrival of Celestina, the new governor. Their calm is broken when her star begins to shine, a sign of danger. Cormac Donal, the crown prince of Avalon, appears in her office. He insists that their union is predestined and mentions the oracle's prophecy. Bryce, annoyed and defiant, rejects the idea of marrying him, but Cormac pressures her to fulfill her duty to her people. Tension rises when Cormac mentions Avalon's outdated customs and his desire for heirs. Bryce makes it clear that her father is Randall, not the Autumn King, reaffirming that she will never accept an imposed destiny. Cormac insists that now, as an immortal and an astrogene, it is time to assume her role. Exhausted by his words, Bryce slams the door in his face. Chapter 10. Hunt, along with Isaiah and Naomi, meets the new governor, Celestina. Her arrival has caused a stir due to her kindness and approachability, in contrast to Micah's authoritarian rule. Celestina makes it clear that she seeks a relationship of partnership and trust, not servitude. Hunt remains cautious, remembering the cruelty of Sandriel and Micah, and suspects that Celestina may have a hidden agenda. The surprise comes when she mentions the arrival of Sandriel's Triarii to reinforce her own. Hunt goes into shock when he sees Pollux and Bashian enter, known for their brutality. Tension erupts, and Hunt cannot contain his fury, launching himself at Pollux in a visceral attack, unleashing chaos in the room. The encounter with these monsters from his past reignites his worst memories and jeopardizes his newfound stability. Chapter 11. Ithan Holstrom, now a lone wolf, tries to adapt to his new reality while living in Bryce's apartment. He feels lost and purposeless, reflecting on his past and the betrayal of Sabine and Amelie. Transforming into a wolf in the bathroom, he confronts the painful truth of being alone, without a pack or family. Perry, Amelie's younger sister, is the only one who shows concern for him, sending him a message to check if he's alive. The loneliness weighs heavily on Ithan, who still feels the pain of losing Connor and the pack. He takes a walk with Syrinx to clear his mind, searching for a purpose to move forward. Bryce's offer to let him stay in her home gives him a small spark of hope, although he is still unsure if he can bear the weight of his solitude. Chapter 12. Bryce visits Hunt in the comitium cell after his fight with Pollux. Worried about his condition, she warns him that he must control his anger to avoid further punishment. Pollux and Bashian make provocative comments, but Bryce confronts them firmly, making it clear that she will not allow them to hurt Hunt again. Celestina releases Hunt, warning him to remain calm. Later, Hunt and Bryce enjoy a quiet moment at the park, but their peace is interrupted by the appearance of a Reaper, a terrifying being that leaves an aura of death in its wake. Upon returning home, Therian awaits them with urgent news about Sophie Renast, a rebel, and her brother Emil, a boy with Thunderbird powers who is being hunted. The revelation that Danica was involved with the rebels shakes Bryce, who vows to uncover the truth. Chapter 13. Bryce woke up exhausted after a restless night beside Hunt. Receiving a call from her mother, Ember, she was caught in a tense conversation about her fake engagement to Cormac, who had already begun attracting media attention. Ember suspected that Bryce was using the engagement to provoke a reaction from Hunt, leading to a heated argument. Bryce, frustrated, made it clear that she was handling the situation and ended the call, leaving her mother worried. Later, Hunt and Bryce argued about Cormac's visit to the archives, increasing the tension between them. Bryce insisted it wasn't important, but Hunt expressed his desire to be kept informed of everything. As she prepared for a meeting, Bryce crossed paths with Hunt, who asked why things felt strange between them, leaving that unease lingering as they went their separate ways. Chapter 14. Bryce met with Juniper and Fury at their favorite tea bar, where they discussed Juniper's frustration over not landing the lead role in Marceline despite her talent. The conversation turned to more serious matters when Bryce confessed to Fury that she was investigating the connection between Danica and Sophie Renast. Fury revealed a shocking secret. Danica was a bloodhound, capable of detecting lineages and hidden secrets. This ability made people seek her out for her gift and also put her in danger. Bryce began to understand that this gift might have played a key role in Danica's mysterious connections. Fury warned Bryce about the risks of continuing her investigation, but Bryce was determined to find out what Danica knew and why she had become involved in such dangerous affairs. Chapter 15. Hunt watched a training session at the comitium, trying to distract himself from his thoughts about Bryce and his growing concerns. During the session, Bashian, a former enemy, approached to provoke him. Bashian insinuated that things were not as they seemed and that Sandriel had forced him to commit atrocious acts. Hunt did not trust his words, and his distrust grew when he received a message from Celestina ordering him to work with Bashian to help him integrate into the 33rd. Although he disliked the idea, Hunt accepted the order, suspecting that Celestina was trying to keep a close eye on him. Meanwhile, Hunt and Isaiah discussed the implications of a possible war, recalling the massacres of the past. The mention of Therian and his search for Emil made Hunt question whether they were making the right decisions. Chapter 16. Therian arrived at Bryce's apartment, where Ithan received him reluctantly. After a tense conversation, Therian tried to obtain information about Danica, but Ithan had no clear answers. The atmosphere shifted dramatically when Idas, the Prince of the Depths, appeared in his feline form and revealed that Bryce still did not understand the magnitude of her powers as a Starborn. Idas hinted that the war was about to reach a critical point and that the armies of Hell were ready to act under Bryce's command. The situation grew more tense when Cormac appeared unexpectedly, revealing his true identity as Silverbow, an agent of Ophion. Cormac confessed that he had accepted the engagement with Bryce to stay close to her and Ruhn, as he needed her gift to communicate mind-to-mind and aid Ophion. The chapter ended with Bryce proposing a deal to Cormac, She would help him find Emil and Sophie, but he would have to teach her about her powers and end the engagement whenever she decided. Chapter 17. Bryce, Hunt, Ruhn, Therion, and Ithan analyzed the recent revelations and the looming threat. Bryce insisted on returning to work to process the bombshell that had just dropped in their lives. Therion admitted his desire to uncover the truth behind Cormac, Sophie, and the Dusk Squadron. Bryce suggested the possibility that the truth about Dusk was related to Pippa's squad and the Thunderbirds, which unsettled everyone. Ithan was bewildered by the Prince of the Depths' presence, while Hunt struggled with his fear of what they might be facing. Determined, Bryce insisted that they must remain silent about what they knew to prevent Cormac from betraying them or the Asteri from destroying them. Tension rose when Hunt, aware of the danger, suggested that Bryce carry a sword to protect herself. Exhausted, Bryce decided it was best to take a day off before continuing the investigation. Chapter 18. Bryce and Hunt walked through the streets as Hunt processed the new rebellion they might get entangled in. Tormented by memories of past wars, Hunt feared that this battle could be even deadlier. Bryce tried to reassure him by saying that what they were facing was more espionage than war, but Hunt knew the reality could be far worse. The conversation shifted to the possibility that Sophie had transmitted crucial information to Emil before they were separated, making the boy an important target. Aware of the risk, Bryce was determined to uncover the truth, both for Danica and for themselves. The mention of possibly freeing the world from the Asteri stirred both hope and fear. Trembling, Hunt admitted that he wanted that world, but feared the cost might be their lives. Determined, Bryce insisted that if Danica considered that information vital, they too must take the risk to obtain it. Chapter 19. Ithan, overwhelmed by the revelations about Bryce and her role in Micah's death, struggled to process the truth. As he contemplated his place in this chaos, he discovered Danica's sword in Bryce's apartment and, in a nostalgic impulse, began practicing with it. Accidentally breaking the coffee table, he discovered a hidden compartment where Danica had concealed documents. When Bryce returned, she found the papers, and together they uncovered notes about the truth about Dusk and theories about the Asteri. The documents suggested that the Asteri were not what they claimed to be, shaking Bryce's perception of the power they were facing. The connection between Danica, Sophie, and this information began to make sense. Shocked, Bryce decided that this new information could be key to changing the course of the war, but she needed to process it all before acting. Chapter 20. Ruhn met with Cormac at a billiards hall, where his cousin revealed that Sophie had been in contact with a vital Ophian spy, Agent Daybright. Cormac needed Ruhn to use his mind-to-mind communication gift to establish a secure connection with her, as previous methods had been compromised. Despite his reluctance, Ruhn understood the importance of the information Daybright could provide, which could save thousands of lives. Cormac gave him a communication crystal linked to Daybright and explained that the rebellion depended on maintaining that contact. Ruhn, aware of the danger this posed to him and his loved ones, accepted the task. Additionally, Cormac confessed his love for Sophie and his desperation to find her. Determined to help, Ruhn promised to do his best to fulfill this mission while trying to protect his family and friends from the mortal risk it entailed. Chapter 21. After an exhausting day filled with revelations, Bryce and Hunt finally give in to the attraction they have been suppressing for so long. Determined not to wait any longer, Bryce seduces Hunt in an alley, igniting an intense passion that consumes them completely. However, the reality of her engagement to Cormac forces them to restrain themselves in public. Back at the apartment, the tension between them continues to build, and finally, in the intimacy of their room, Bryce and Hunt explore their desires. The night is intense, but Hunt is interrupted by a nightmare in which Apollyon, the Prince of the Pit, contacts him from a dark realm, warning him that he is wasting his powers. Apollyon hints that Hunt and Bryce are more powerful than they realize and that the impending war will be devastating. Upon waking, Hunt, unsettled, clings to Bryce, knowing that the forces of hell are very close to them. Chapter 22. Ruhn, accompanied by Flynn and Declan, attempts to contact the mysterious Agent Daybright using a communication crystal. Closing his eyes and invoking a mental bridge, he establishes contact with a female figure enveloped in flames. Although they initially distrust each other, they exchange identification codes provided by Cormac. Ruhn introduces himself as Knight, and she grants him that codename. Daybright confirms that safe passage through the spine is guaranteed under the waning moon and prefers to communicate this way. When the contact ends, Ruhn is intrigued by the woman's true identity, wondering if she is also hiding her true self, just as he does under his starry mantle. Upon awakening, Ruhn is aware of the danger his new mission entails and the possible consequences of this connection. Chapter 23. Ruhn confronts Cormac about why he withheld details about Daybright. Cormac justifies his silence, implying that Ruhn might have refused to work with her due to prejudice. Ruhn describes his encounter with Daybright but feels guilty for not asking about Sophie or the Asteri's mech suit prototype. During the conversation, Declan and Flynn question Cormac, provoking tensions. Cormac emphasizes the importance of the planned attack on the spine and the need to secure the prototype before the Asteri use it in battle. Ruhn agrees to wait for instructions but despises his involvement in the rebellion. As Cormac departs to search for Emil, Declan and Flynn remain concerned about the risks this mission poses to Ruhn and the future of the city. Chapter 24. Hunt and Isaiah are summoned to a private meeting with Celestina following the public altercation between Pollux and Bashian. The Archangel tries to maintain control over her triarii, but the situation is tense. Pollux downplays his aggression toward a woman at a bar, while Bashian reveals that he intervened to prevent a rape. Pressured by the Asteri, Celestina announces that she must marry Ephraim to produce an heir, consolidating archangelic power. Hunt senses the sadness and resignation in Celestina, understanding that her fate has been sealed by the Asteri. After the meeting, Celestina confides in Hunt about her past friendship with Shahar and her failed attempt to free him years ago. Her offer of genuine friendship and support leaves Hunt bewildered but grateful. However, the arrival of Sandriel's former allies threatens to destabilize the apparent peace. Chapter 25. Hunt meets with Bashian after the meeting with Celestina. Although he distrusts the Mastiff of Hell, Bashian suggests that he is playing by new rules and warns Hunt about the impending storm. Bashian mentions hidden tensions between Pollux and the Hind, hinting at secrets related to Sandriel. Hunt, unable to fully trust Bashian, senses that something has profoundly changed in him since Sandriel's death. While Bashian hints that he might have crucial information, Hunt remains hesitant to trust him. The conversation leaves Hunt uneasy, feeling that the shadows of the past still haunt him. Bashian's warning about an imminent storm echoes in his mind as he heads to find Bryce, seeking comfort amid the growing uncertainty. Chapter 26. Ithan accompanies Therion and his team to investigate the murder of a Selkie in a forest near the Istros. The victim was executed with cruelty, indicating prolonged torture before her death. Ithan uses his sharp sense of smell to detect human traces at the crime scene, concluding that the Selkie had helped Emil before being killed, likely by Pippa Spetsos or her men. Therion confirms that the boy might be heading toward Lunathion and that Pippa is dangerously close. Back at the Blue Court, the River Queen reiterates her desire to capture Emil before Ophion or the other courts, making it clear that she considers him a key piece in consolidating her power. Therion, tired of being a pawn in the Queen's games, longs desperately for change. Meanwhile, Ithan feels the weight of the search for Emil and fears that the boy is closer to danger than they imagine. Chapter 27. Bryce convinces Hunt to accompany her to the meat market to search for clues about Emil. They arrive at the crowded marketplace, filled with stalls and food, where Bryce hopes to find answers. Despite the danger, Bryce does not hesitate to keep searching, but Hunt warns her that the meat market is not safe and that the Viper Queen might discover them. Bryce, however, remains undeterred and calls Fury and Juniper to help with the search. They split up to cover the area without drawing attention. After half an hour, none of them find any sign of Emil. Bryce concludes that if Emil is not at the meat market, their next step is the Bone Quarter, leading them to consider asking the Underking. Juniper, haunted by the memory of her brother Julius, expresses her hatred for that place, while Fury promises to destroy it someday. The search continues, and Bryce is determined to find the boy before anyone else. Chapter 28. After the intense search, Bryce returns to the gym to release tension with an exhausting workout. While doing planks, her mind drifts between thoughts about Danica, Emil, and the dangers they face. Hunt finds her lying on the floor, exhausted, and jokes about her state. The tension between them rises as they talk about music and books, and soon after, the attraction engulfs them. Unable to resist, Hunt surprises Bryce and takes her to the brink of ecstasy in the middle of the gym, where passion erupts. After their intimacy, they confess their feelings, with Bryce admitting that she loves Hunt, and he responds that he feels the same. This confession seals their bond, leading them to discuss the meaning of being mates between Fae and angels. Although the idea of calling themselves mates implies a deep commitment, Bryce and Hunt accept the term, further strengthening their relationship amid the storm that looms. Chapter 29. Ruhn contacts Daybright again in his dreams, where he receives crucial information about an imminent attack by Ophion on an Imperial weapons shipment. The information is dangerous, and Ruhn realizes that by transmitting it, he is officially aligning himself with the rebels. Meanwhile, Cormac and Ruhn discuss the threat of Pippa Spetsos and the possibility that she is searching for Emil in Lunathion. The following day, while discussing their plans, Cormac and Ruhn decide to pass the information to Ophion, but Bryce warns Hunt to stay out of the attack. Tensions rise when Cormac notices the bond between Bryce and Hunt, threatening to expose their relationship and jeopardize the false engagement with Cormac. Meanwhile, the presence of necrowolves in the city instills fear, and Ruhn becomes alarmed when he discovers that Mordock, a lethal necrowolf and Danica's father, has arrived in Lunathion. This revelation increases the urgency of finding Emil before the necrowolves capture him. Chapter 30. Bryce and Hunt venture into the Bone Quarter to confront the Underking and ask about Emil and Sophie. Upon arrival, they are met with a terrifying vision. The place is not the green paradise Bryce had seen before, but a gloomy and cold domain. When they meet the Underking, Bryce demands answers, but he denies sending the Reapers who attacked them. However, he reveals a disturbing truth. He feeds on the souls that pass through the Gate of the Dead, siphoning their energy to strengthen both the gate and himself. When Bryce asks about Danica and the Pack of Devils, she discovers that even they had been absorbed by the gate. Realizing that the Underking has no intention of letting them leave alive, Hunt and Bryce prepare to fight. The Underking summons the Shepherd, a demonic beast created by the Prince of the Ravine, which splits into 3 mastiffs to hunt them. As Bryce runs for her life, she comes face to face with the Gate of the Dead and sees the Star's Word within her reach. Chapter 31. Ruhn drank whiskey at a bar with Ithan while pretending to engage in trivial conversation so that the cameras would record them far from where Mordock could incriminate them. Ruhn proposed that Ithan move in with him and the boys, offering his support. Ithan hesitated but considered the offer. However, the moment's tranquility was shattered when the Hind, accompanied by the dangerous Harpy, appeared unexpectedly. The Hind, beautiful and deadly, sat with them, implying that her presence was no coincidence. Ruhn tried to remain calm while the 2 women, who served the Asteri, exuded an implicit threat. Tension rose when the Hind suggested playing cards, a prelude to assessing their intentions. Ruhn understood that they were under surveillance and that any wrong move could cost them dearly. The presence of the Hind and the Harpy was a veiled warning that danger was closing in. Chapter 32. Hunt fought against demons from hell that merged and separated to attack him. His lightning managed to hold them off, but his main concern was Bryce, who was running toward the Gate of the Dead, surrounded by Reapers. Bryce was trapped in a circle of half-lives that awakened the gate to absorb her power. The danger was imminent, and Bryce, wounded, had only the Star's Word for protection. Hunt battled the demons while Bryce assessed the risk of using the gate to draw power. When the Mastiffs tried to attack her, Bryce ran toward them, managing to recover the Star's Word, but sustaining severe injuries in the process. Enraged, Hunt landed beside her, transformed into pure storm. His power intensified as Bryce used the Star's Word as a conduit to channel his lightning. Together, they faced the threat, but the gate continued draining energy, and Bryce realized that her soul was in danger if they did not escape in time. Chapter 33. Tharion met with the River Queen in her study, surrounded by lilies and crystal-clear waters. She was uneasy about the recent murders of Vanir and suspected that Pippa Spetsos and her Dusk Squadron were behind these atrocious acts. Tharion informed her that Emil Renast might be in the city, increasing the Queen's concern. Tharion sensed that there was more at stake, as the River Queen showed an unusual interest in finding the boy. She ordered Tharion to keep Emil hidden from Ophiant's command to prevent them from using him as a weapon. Tharion questioned the Queen's intentions, but she deflected his suspicions. As he left, Tharion couldn't shake the feeling that they were caught in a dangerous game, and that if they didn't find Emil before their enemies, the consequences would be devastating for everyone. Chapter 34. Hunt and Bryce managed to escape the Bone Quarter after confronting the threat of the Gate of the Dead. Exhausted and wounded, they reached the Istros, where Tharion awaited them with a jet ski to take them back to Lunathion. During the chase, they were attacked by Sobuks, lethal creatures lurking in the river. Tharion, using his control over water, managed to eliminate the beasts and ensure Bryce and Hunt's escape. Once home, Bryce recounted what had happened to Ruhn, Ithan, and Tharion, who were horrified to learn the true fate of the souls trapped by the gate. Hunt and Bryce reflected on the danger posed by the Bone Quarter and the impact it would have if the Asteri discovered their intervention. The revelation about the true nature of the gate and its effects left everyone in an unsettling silence. Chapter 35. Hunt accompanied Celestina during her meeting with Ephraim, her future consort. The meeting was tense and filled with discomfort, as Ephraim brought along the Hind and the Harpy, increasing the tension in the room. Meanwhile, Bryce, Ruhn, and Ithan discussed the possibility that Danica had collaborated with the rebels due to her disgust toward her father, Mordok. But the situation took an unexpected turn when Sabine burst into Bryce's apartment, furious that they were protecting Ithan. The confrontation nearly ended in bloodshed, but Hunt arrived in time to stop her. However, the revelation that Mordok was Danica's father shocked everyone. Bryce, devastated by the betrayal of hidden secrets, struggled to process the truth while Sabine warned of the danger Mordok represented. The threat of the Hind, the Necrowolves, and Danica's past engulfed them all in a web of danger that was closing in faster than they could anticipate. Chapter 36. Ruhn took Ithan Holstrom to his home, where Flynn and Declan were devouring pizzas. When Ruhn announced that the fourth room would be for Ithan, Declan shrugged and tossed him a beer. Later, Ruhn reconnected with Day on the mental bridge, where they talked about loss and sacrifice. Ruhn confessed his pain over Lahabra's death, and Day shared the loneliness that surrounded her. They spoke about their dysfunctional families and the risks involved in their work for the rebellion. Although Ruhn tried to maintain his distance, his connection with Day was deep, filled with understanding and vulnerability. She suggested that Ruhn use his position to weaken his father's power, but Ruhn admitted that he preferred to act from the shadows. Their conversation ended when Day disappeared, leaving Ruhn with a sense of emptiness and an inexplicable longing to see her again. Chapter 37. Ithan Holstrom woke up at Ruhn's house and nostalgically recalled the jokes he used to share with his brother Connor. After showering and reading the playful notes between Ruhn and Flynn about the shampoo, he went to the Istros, determined to seek answers about Connor. He remembered the pain he felt upon learning of his brother's death and how he had secretly loved Bryce without ever daring to tell her. His feelings had not changed, although he knew Bryce was now with Hunt. Meeting Tharion, Ithan expressed his desire to go to the Bone Quarter to verify if Connor's soul was there. Tharion warned him about the dangers but eventually agreed to help him. Together, they devised a plan to search for clues, although Ithan felt that the shadow of his past still weighed heavily on him and that the answer he sought might not be what he hoped for. Chapter 38. Bryce attended her ballet class to clear her mind, watching Juniper's dedication with admiration. During the break, Juniper revealed that Corinne Lescaw had been promoted to principal dancer, a clear punishment by the BCM for Juniper's defiance of the elitist council. Bryce felt anger at the injustice, and although Juniper tried to stay strong, Bryce knew how much it hurt her. After class, Bryce spoke with Madame Kira, who confirmed that Juniper was facing a rigid power structure that punished those who dared to question it. Determined to help her friend, Bryce decided to contact the BCM director, using her title as a princess to intervene. Her rebellious spirit burned brightly, determined to fight for justice, while Juniper continued her silent battle to keep doing what she loved, even if the system was against her. Chapter 39. After an intense training session, Hunt was summoned by Celestina. The Archangel reprimanded him for leaving his post the previous night to help Bryce. Although Hunt tried to justify himself, Celestina reminded him that his loyalty should be to her, not to a Fey princess. As punishment, she ordered him to remain in the Comitium barracks for 2 weeks, keeping him away from Bryce. Despite the punishment, Hunt accepted his fate, knowing that he would always choose Bryce, no matter the consequences. As he left, he noticed the presence of Lydia Servos, who questioned him about his relationship with Ruhn, Ithan, and Therion, hinting that they were hiding something. Although Hunt tried to stay calm, his instincts warned him that the Hind was getting too close to discovering the truth. Bashian intervened to distract Lydia, but Hunt knew that danger was closing in and that time was running out for all of them. Chapter 40. Bryce, Therion, and Ithan visited the astronomer to consult the mystics and discover Connor's fate. The place was steeped in dark magic and despair, with mystics submerged in tanks, their minds wandering the far reaches of the universe. Bryce felt disgusted seeing the fire sprites trapped in the astronomer's rings. Despite her objections, they allowed the mystics to search for Connor's soul, but contact with Thanatos, Prince of the Ravine, revealed that Connor was still in the Bone Quarter. However, the prince tried to trap the mystic soul, plunging the place into chaos. Horrified, Ithan rescued the mystics before they drowned. As they left, Mordok appeared, insinuating that he knew too much. Bryce felt that danger was closing in on them and that their enemies were drawing nearer, while the darkness of hell loomed over them from the shadows. Chapter 41. Bryce trained unsuccessfully with Cormac to teleport, frustrated by her inability to master the power of shadows. Ruhn watched, concerned about the unsettling silence of their enemies and Emil's disappearance. Therion reported that there were still no signs of the boy, and Ruhn noticed that the River Queen was putting pressure on the captain. Meanwhile, Declan analyzed Danika's videos and discovered a revealing recording where she photographed pages from a book about the lineage of the wolves. Bryce and Ruhn uncovered a forgotten manuscript indicating that Danika had been investigating the lost ancestors of the Fender. When confronting the Prime, Bryce obtained a disturbing confession. The wolves had forgotten their true nature after the First Wars. Bryce realized that Danika had been trying to restore that legacy, but the mystery behind her true intention still haunted her. Chapter 42. The Prime contacted Ithan to question his banishment from the Den and, after hearing Sabine's reasons, offered him the opportunity to become alpha of his own pack. Ithan, surprised and unsure of what to decide, was torn between his loyalty to his deceased brother and his disdain for Sabine. Later, he visited the astronomer seeking answers and discovered that one of the mystics was a wolf trapped since childhood. Ithan promised to help her, but she feared the astronomer's retaliation if he discovered her interactions with him. Before leaving, Ithan took a box containing fire sprites trapped in rings, determined to bring justice. The Prime's offer still weighed heavily on him, fearing that accepting it might betray Connor's legacy by distancing himself from the wolves or, worse, leaving the future of his people in Sabine's hands. Chapter 43. Hunt, Bryce, Ruhn, Cormac, and Therion arrived in Idra to intercept a shipment of weapons from Ophion and prevent Pippa Spetsos from gaining control of the Valbera front. Pippa revealed the prototype of an Asteri mech suit capable of absorbing first light and converting it into weapons, which horrified Hunt, who recognized the threat it posed to both sides. Despite his warnings, Pippa saw the prototype as an opportunity for the rebellion and did not hesitate to show her cruelty by murdering the Vanir crew of the ship. Bryce and her group realized that Pippa and Ophion were as dangerous as the Asteri. Hunt destroyed the prototype and the munitions to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands, but the explosion alerted their enemies. Ophiant's betrayal made it clear that Valbera was on the brink of a devastating war. Chapter 44. While escaping from Idra after the destruction of the prototype, Bryce, Hunt, and their group were pursued by the Hind, the Harpy, and Pollux, who led the chase from a speedboat. A surprise attack sank their ship and left them at the mercy of the water, where 3 Omega vessels approached menacingly. When all seemed lost, an unknown vessel rescued them. The Warrior of the Depths, a city ship belonging to the Ocean Queen's court, took them in just in time. Hunt, still consumed by his power and the primal fury of protecting Bryce, was on the verge of losing control. Bryce, aware of the deep bond they shared, understood that the only way to calm him was to reconnect with him. The unexpected arrival of the Warrior of the Depths gave them a brief respite, but Bryce knew that the real battle had yet to begin. Chapter 45. Ithan argued with Mark, Flynn, and Declan about the legal trouble they faced after stealing a box with fire sprites from the astronomer. As they argued, the box shook, and when they opened it, they discovered 4 rings with glass spheres. 3 fire sprites emerged, but the 4th was different. A dragon named Ariadne who took human form. Ariadne warned of the danger posed by the astronomer and revealed that the sprites had been tortured for years. Ithan felt relieved to have freed them, but also feared the consequences. Flynn and Declan decided to help them, while Ariadne revealed that, due to the slavery tattoo on her wrist, she could not transform or escape without being tracked. Now, Ithan and his friends found themselves entangled in a much bigger problem than they had anticipated, while the dragon became a dangerous enigma. Chapter 46. Ruhn and his team traveled in a secret submarine powered by the Ocean Queen's magic to escape the Omega. The vessel was undetectable, capable of camouflaging itself as a sea rock and becoming invisible to radars. Ruhn observed a biodome inside the submarine, filled with tropical vegetation and animal life, an autonomous ecosystem designed to ensure survival. As tension grew due to the Omega's proximity, Sens, the submarine's commander, explained that the technology was a gift from the Ocean Queen. When the Omega drew dangerously close, the vessel remained undetectable, and Sens assured them that even the Imperial radar could not detect them. The crew watched with fear as the Omega passed by without noticing their presence, giving them a chance to continue their journey toward the mouth of the Istros, where they hoped to reunite with their allies. Chapter 47. Hunt and Bryce found themselves in the submarine's biodome, surrounded by lush nature. Hunt, still consumed by rage and overflowing power, needed to release his magic. Bryce calmed him by leading him into the forest's intimacy. What began as a passionate connection between them turned into something deeper. Their powers fused, and both shone with astral light and interwoven lightning. During the climax, they accidentally teleported to the submarine's airlock. Confused by this new power, they deduced that their abilities could combine to achieve unexpected feats. Cormac confirmed that the fusion of their magic might have triggered this phenomenon. Now, aware of the potential of their powers together, Bryce and Hunt needed to learn how to control them for what lay ahead. Chapter 48. Cormac received the devastating news that Sophie had drowned before being rescued. In the morgue, he bid her farewell with tears and pain. Therion discovered numbers and letters engraved on Sophie's arm before she died, which could be key information. Meanwhile, Bryce and Hunt reflected on how their powers had fused. Commander Sens explained that the Ocean Queen wanted to overthrow the Asteri, but her true motives remained unclear. Ruhn, on the other hand, had another conversation with Day on the mental bridge, where she told him a story about a witch transformed into a beast by the forest. Upon waking, Ruhn realized that Day was hiding deep secrets. Back in Lunathion, Bryce attempted to train her teleportation power without success, while Bashian arrived, demanding to participate in their plans, revealing himself as a rebel sympathizer. Tensions grew as Hunt questioned Bryce's intentions regarding Emil. Chapter 49. Ruhn returned exhausted after a mission and found Flynn, Declan, and Ithan with suspicious smiles. Flynn, excited, introduced him to their new housemates. 3 fire sprites, Rithi, Sasa, and Milana, who perched coquettishly on their shoulders. Then, a curvaceous woman with black hair and glowing red eyes appeared. Ariadne, a dragon. Ruhn, incredulous, discovered that Ithan was responsible for her presence. Flynn joked about the fire insurance, but Ruhn sensed the danger of having a dragon and illegal sprites under the same roof. As he tried to process the situation, his companions insisted that the newcomers were an advantage for the house. Although overwhelmed, Ruhn decided to accept the situation, knowing that nothing would be the same with these peculiar new inhabitants. Chapter 50. Hunt accompanied Bryce to the meat market, where they confronted the Viper Queen to reclaim Emil. Bryce admitted to having brought the boy there for safety, but the Queen's methods had caused the death of many innocents, something Bryce deeply regretted. Hunt, furious, confronted Bryce for hiding her plans from him. Upon arrival, they found Emil frightened beside the Queen, who toyed with his emotions. Bryce managed to get a moment alone with the boy, who confirmed that it was his sister Sophie who had sunk the Omegas, not him, revealing that he had no powers. Hunt understood Bryce's sacrifice to protect him, though he remained concerned about the repercussions of that deception. Bryce assured Emil that he would be safe with them. In the end, they managed to take the boy away, although the threat of the Viper Queen still loomed over them. Chapter 51. Bryce discreetly arranged for Emil's departure with Fury, who would escort him to Bryce's family to give him a new identity and a safe home. Hunt, still upset by Bryce's secrecy, followed her from the air, but his concern was mixed with admiration at how much she had risked for Emil. Fury, though stern, agreed to protect the boy, while Bryce assured Emil that he was now part of her family. When Emil left, Bryce and Hunt argued heatedly, expressing their frustrations with each other's decisions. Bryce, hurt by Hunt's words, walked away without looking back. Hunt felt torn between his anger and understanding Bryce's reasons. He knew their relationship was on the brink of collapse if they didn't find a way to reconcile. Meanwhile, danger still lurked in the shadows. Chapter 52. Ruhn received an unexpected visit from Queen Hypaxia, his betrothed, who asked him for a favor. She distrusted her coven, believing that they might betray her and support her sister, the Hind, to take her place. Hypaxia requested that Ruhn provide her with an escort to protect her while she was in Lunathion for the governor's celebration. Ruhn accepted without hesitation, concerned for Hypaxia's safety. Meanwhile, Ariadne and the sprites observed the situation closely. Ruhn noticed the tension in Hypaxia and promised to help her. At the same time, Therion met with Hunt, informing him that Emil was safe and had no powers. Hunt asked Therion to stop searching for him to avoid attracting more danger. Aware of the peril he faced if his queen discovered the truth, Therion decided to delay that information to buy time and enjoy his freedom on the surface. Chapter 53. Ithan overheard Ruhn and Hypaxia discussing escorting the Witch Queen. Although he accepted the mission, his true interest was asking Hypaxia to contact his brother Connor during the autumn equinox. The Queen, saddened, agreed to help, and Ruhn showed his support, making Ithan appreciate his friendship. Hypaxia revealed that she could perform the ritual because, during the equinox, the veil between realms was thinner, and although Ithan agreed without hesitation, part of him feared what he might discover. As they spoke, the idea of adding a dragon as protection for Hypaxia emerged, raising doubts about her loyalty. Driven by his desire to give his brother peace, Ithan committed to the mission despite the risks. Deep inside, the wolf held on to the hope that he might finally get answers. Chapter 54. Bryce avoided going home until she saw Hunt waiting for her outside the archives. Despite the tension between them, he asked to enter the building to search for information about ancient demons. Bryce, unwilling to argue, let him in. Later, while in the archives, Hunt revealed that Celestina's report spoke of demons from the pit that should not be in Midgard. While Bryce flirted to ease the tension, Hunt expressed his concern about the growing power of hell and the risk it posed to her. Bryce confirmed that Fury had delivered the package safely and that Therion had stopped his search. Hunt remained worried about Hell's plans and feared that Ida's was preparing Bryce for something big. Amid tension and desire, they reconnected, though deep down, both knew that danger was drawing ever closer. Chapter 55. Bryce spoke with her mother, who assured her that Cooper was well and adjusting to his new life. But her day took a drastic turn when the Autumn King appeared in her office to inform her that by using his name to gain favors, she had accepted her royal title. She was now officially a Fey princess, binding her to her father and the laws of his court. Although she tried to reject it, he assured her that the change was irreversible. The king warned that the Asteri might retaliate if they discovered the truth. Bryce, feeling trapped, was determined to find a way out of this situation. As she processed the news, she realized that she had to keep this information from Hunt and her loved ones until she had a strategy to counter her father's power. Chapter 56. While Bryce and Hypaxia tried to relax after an afternoon of confessions, a demon pounced on Ithan and tore his throat. Hypaxia and Bryce were cornered by two lethal beasts. Desperate, Bryce asked Hypaxia to channel her healing power into her chest to recharge her teleportation ability. Bryce managed to move just enough to grab Ithan's gun and kill one of the demons. Hypaxia, from her broom, attacked the second demon and killed it. Gravely injured, Ithan was taken to the witch's embassy for recovery. Bryce called Ruhn to inform him of what had happened. Hunt arrived at the scene and, after analyzing the situation, concluded that the Deathstalkers were sent by the Prince of the Pit. Tension rose as everyone realized that the threat was only beginning and that Bryce's safety was more compromised than ever. Chapter 57. Hunt and Bryce returned home after the public revelation of Bryce's engagement. Bryce was devastated, feeling trapped by her father, the Autumn King, who could now legally control her. Hunt, furious, promised they would find a way out of this situation. Bryce feared losing her freedom and felt ensnared in a web where she was viewed as a possession. Hunt comforted her and promised to fight for them. Bryce, distressed, shared that if her father wished, he could marry her off to Cormac without her consent, and she would never be free. Filled with rage, Hunt vowed to kill anyone who tried to separate them. Although Bryce felt defeated, Hunt encouraged her, assuring her that together they would find a solution, no matter the cost. Chapter 58. Ruhn met with Day on the mental bridge after their last tense conversation. Although Day apologized for her words, Ruhn still felt that she was the only person he could be honest with. They talked about leadership and what makes a good leader, and although Ruhn doubted his readiness to be king, Day reminded him that true strength lies in those who listen and defend the defenseless. Day confessed that Ruhn was her only friend in a world full of enemies, which deeply moved Ruhn. They decided to meet during the autumn equinox at the masquerade ball, establishing a secret code to recognize each other, day and night. The tension between them grew, leaving the uncertainty of what would happen when they finally met face to face hanging in the air. Chapter 59. During the equinox ball, Hunt felt uncomfortable in his tuxedo, but his discomfort disappeared when he saw Bryce looking dazzling. Cormac was her official escort, but Hunt and Bryce had a secret plan. The tension escalated when Bryce, with courage, publicly announced Hunt as her mate and named him Prince, causing the Autumn King's bewilderment. Celestina approved their union, making their bond official. The party took a turn when the Asteri appeared through a screen, observing everyone with cold and ruthless eyes. Bryce and Hunt faced the inquisitive gaze of Regulus, who seemed to know much more than he let on. The night ended with Bryce and Hunt dancing, finding momentary comfort and happiness in each other's arms, while danger lurked in every shadow. Chapter 60. Seeking privacy, Hunt and Bryce entered a closet during the ball, only to discover Celestina and Hypaxia in a passionate moment. The tense situation led Celestina to threaten them, fearing that if Ephraim or the Asteri discovered their relationship, both would be in mortal danger. Bryce, demonstrating her cunning, assured them that their secret was safe. Celestina confessed that Hypaxia's engagement to Ruhn was her idea to protect their love, but everything changed when the Asteri intervened. Bryce offered her support and promised to protect them. The night made it clear that alliances and secrets could mean the difference between life and death in this dangerous game. Hunt and Bryce left the closet knowing they had gained two powerful allies. Chapter 61. Ruhn waited for Day in the garden during the ball, but the Harpy and the Hind followed him, putting their meeting at risk. Realizing the danger, Ruhn decided to leave, fearing that staying would expose Day. When they finally met on the mental bridge, Day confessed that she had been there and saw him but didn't approach to protect them both. Ruhn was relieved that she was safe, but the tension between them grew when he asked her to say her name, feeling the deep connection they shared. Day, fearful, refused to meet him in person, reminding him of the danger surrounding them. Filled with desire and the need to see her, Ruhn kissed her passionately in the mental realm, but she disappeared, leaving him heartbroken and more determined than ever to discover her true identity. Chapter 62. Hypaxia invoked a spirit, but instead of Connor, the Underking appeared. Ithan felt chills at his presence and prepared his claws to protect Hypaxia, who struggled to maintain her power. The Underking, mocking and ominous, warned them that they were meddling with forces they did not understand. Hypaxia tried to banish him, but he ignored her and warned Ithan about his brother. While the Witch Queen gathered her magic, the king suggested a game, hinting that the House of Flame and Shadow had an interest in Hypaxia. Ithan, filled with tension, realized that something was about to happen and that his brother was in danger if he did not comply with the Underking's demands. The situation was more dangerous than they had imagined, and both knew they could not let their guard down for a second. Chapter 63. Bryce dreamed of Apollyon, Prince of the Pit, who took her to Parthos, a desolate land. He revealed that Thea, the Starborn Queen, had loved Idas and fought alongside Hel against the Asteri. Bryce was shocked to discover that Peleus, who killed Thea, had fought on the wrong side. Apollyon urged Bryce to use the horn to open the gates of Hel and unleash her power, but she adamantly refused. Apollyon warned that war was coming and that Hel was ready to act. Bryce felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of the truth and realized that much more was at stake than she had imagined. Her bond with Hunt and the threat posed by Hel weighed heavily on her shoulders, while her destiny grew increasingly uncertain. Chapter 64. Bryce, Hunt, Ruhn, and Hypaxia went to the Temple of Ord to confront the Underking, but they were betrayed. Pippa Spetzos and the Dusk Soldiers arrived to annihilate them after striking a secret deal with the Underking. Bryce used her abilities to summon reinforcements through the gates, drawing Pollux and Mordock to the scene. Despite being exhausted from using her power, she managed to teleport her allies out of danger. When she and Hunt were trapped, Bashian appeared and showed them a secret exit, leading them to the catacombs. However, Bryce, distrustful, pointed her rifle at Bashian when she discovered that he had a tattoo with Danika's handwriting. Bashian confessed that Danika had been his mate, leaving Bryce stunned and full of questions. Chapter 65. Bryce pointed her weapon at Bashian, refusing to believe his claim that he had been Danika's mate. Bashian defended himself by showing a tattoo with Danika's initial, revealing that he had loved her and witnessed Sabine's abuse toward her. He insisted that Danika hid their relationship to protect him, fearing that the Asteri would use him against her. Despite her doubts, Bryce began to piece things together and remembered that Danika had stopped dating for 2 years before her death. Bashian explained that Danika had been investigating shapeshifter bloodlines and found a key descendant in her genealogy, him. Danika's research aimed to uncover the origins of their world and find an alternative to Sabine to lead the wolves. Bryce finally lowered her weapon when she realized that Bashian was also seeking answers, and he mentioned a numerical sequence that Sophie Renast had recorded before her death, connected to the Asteri archives. Chapter 66. Bryce and Hunt brought the information to Ruhn, Declan, and Hypaxia to search for answers. Declan attempted to hack the palace's archive system but found it impenetrable. However, he managed to access the Eternal Palace's cameras, where they saw footage of Sophie Renast entering a room marked with the numbers Bashian had provided. Sophie exited pale and empty-handed, but her reaction indicated that she had found something significant. Bryce deduced that what Sophie discovered was so impactful that it could change the course of the war against the Asteri. Declan confirmed that the cameras could be used to track movements within the palace. Bryce decided they would have to infiltrate the Asteri archives to uncover the truth. Hunt feared for her safety, but Bryce was determined to follow Danika's path, no matter the cost. Chapter 67. Therion broke off his engagement with the River Queen's daughter, who revealed that she had known all along that he did not love her. She warned that her mother would retaliate. Desperate to escape his fate, Tharion turned to the Viper Queen and offered himself as a slave to avoid returning to the Blue Court. She accepted but bound him to her will through a blood oath. Tharion felt an invisible connection tying him to the Viper Queen, losing his freedom. Although she allowed him to finish his mission with Bryce and the others, he knew he would be her prisoner forever after that. Meanwhile, Ithan discovered that the mystic in the astronomer's tank was Offender Alpha, a legitimate heir capable of overthrowing Sabine. Fearing for her life, he decided to stay to protect her and fulfill Danika's legacy. Chapter 68. Ruhn met with Daybright again in the mental bridge, where she revealed that their relationship was dangerous. Fearing her master's wrath if their connection was discovered, she tried to distance herself, but Ruhn convinced her to stay. Their encounter was passionate, but it was abruptly interrupted when Daybright disappeared, leaving Ruhn worried for her safety. Determined to save her, Ruhn informed Bryce and Hunt that he would go to the palace to rescue her while they searched for information in the Asteri archives. Although Bryce and Hunt considered it a deadly risk, Ruhn insisted. While planning the infiltration, Cormac revealed that Pippa Spezzo's plan to attack a key Pangera laboratory. The group decided to move the attack forward to create a distraction and facilitate their entry into the palace. The risk was enormous, but Bryce and her team were willing to face everything to uncover the truth and protect their loved ones. Chapter 69. Ruhn met Cormac in a bar in the Old Square, where they talked about the weight of their fathers and the pressure of their future roles. Cormac admitted that he envied Ruhn for maintaining his kindness despite his father's cruelty. Despite their past, Cormac apologized and proposed that after their mission, they start anew as allies. Ruhn accepted, sealing the agreement with a handshake. Meanwhile, Hunt returned to his room to prepare for the mission, feeling empty as he remembered his life before Bryce. Upon leaving, he encountered Celestina, who questioned him about his activities. They talked about the Asteri's impositions and Celestina's sacrifice to conceive a new archangel. Driven by his love for Bryce, Hunt assured her that he would endure anything to stay by her side, but felt the constant threat of the expectations imposed by the Asteri. Chapter 70. Tharion and Cormac traveled to a checkpoint in Pangera, where they posed as officers to infiltrate Dr. Zelis's laboratory. Cormac effortlessly deceived the guards using forged documents and the mention of Rigulus, allowing them to pass without issues. During the journey, Tharion felt the constant pressure of his bond with the Viper Queen, reminding him of his pending debt. Upon arriving at the laboratory, they found a cold, functional space filled with experimental machinery. Cormac noticed the hidden presence of Pippa and her rebels, ready to attack. Aware of the risk, Tharion felt the urgency to complete the mission before the River Queen claimed his soul. The nearby necrowolves added tension to the moment, while Cormac deduced that Pippa was waiting for the perfect moment to strike, signaling an imminent confrontation. Chapter 71. Bryce, Hunt, and Ruhn arrived at the Eternal City, a metropolis trapped in time under the shadow of the Asteri's palace. From a nearby orchard, Cormac teleported them sequentially into the palace. Hunt went first, followed by Bryce, and then Ruhn, who was still anguished about Day's fate. Bryce hugged her brother before leaving, promising they would save Day. During the journey, Cormac overheard part of Bryce and Ruhn's conversation, confirming that Bryce was destined to lead the Fae. Once inside, Hunt felt suffocated by painful memories of the place where he was tortured and lost Shahar. When Bryce appeared, Hunt found comfort, but the tension grew as Ruhn remained worried about Day. After 5 minutes passed, Tharion reported that Cormac had initiated the attack, clearing the way for Bryce to uncover the truth. Chapter 72. Bryce reached the heart of the palace's secret archives, where she discovered crystal pipes feeding the Asteri with first light. Reading the screens, she realized that the Asteri consumed the energy of souls from the dead and descents, using it to remain invincible. Sophie and Danica had died for this secret. The revelation that Midgard's citizens were merely food for these immortal beings filled Bryce with rage. As she grasped the magnitude of the Asteri's control, she realized that destroying the First Light Core could weaken them. With horror, Bryce understood that the only way to stop them was to cut off the energy source sustaining their dominion over Midgard. Chapter 73. Bryce discovered the truth in a room titled Dusk, where star maps depicted planets conquered by the Asteri. She learned that the Asteri not only ruled Midgard but had conquered and destroyed multiple worlds to feed on them. One map marked Hell, the home of the demon princes who had once defeated the Asteri and pursued these monsters to protect other worlds. Bryce realized that the princes of Hell had tried to save Midgard millennia ago, and that Thea and her daughters had closed the gates to prevent another invasion. Rigilus, speaking through an intercom, revealed that the Asteri needed Bryce, the bearer of the horn, to open the gates again. When Bryce tried to escape, she found Hunt captured and shackled by the Harpy, leaving them both at the mercy of the enemy. Chapter 74. Therion tried to escape, but a mech suit with an armed pilot blocked his path. Cormac ordered him to flee while Pippa fired at them. Therion watched as Cormac fell with a mortal wound. Realizing he had 4 hours to reach the water before the rebels captured him, he fled through a hole in the wall. Looking back, he saw Cormac pointing toward 5 glowing figures. The Asteri had arrived. Without warning, Cormac sacrificed himself, erupting in a massive ball of fire that consumed Pippa and the pilot. Therion did not wait to see if it was enough to stop the Asteri and kept moving toward the coast. As the wolves charged toward the burning building, Therion moved farther away, leaving behind destruction and the certainty that Cormac had given his life to stop their enemies. Chapter 75. Ruhn, chained in a cell with Gorshan shackles, endured the pain from the beating Mordok had given him after tracking him down with his infallible scent. The cell door opened, and he saw Bryce and Hunt, also shackled, enter with terror on their faces. Mordok, with cruelty, explained that Rigilus had planned everything to capture them. Ruhn tried to deceive him by claiming they were there to help the Asteri, but Mordok, knowing his lies, reminded him that he had tracked their scents throughout Lunathion. The Harpy entered, savoring the moment. With a lethal knife, she threatened Ruhn while Bryce and Hunt tried to intervene. The Harpy began cruelly toying with Ruhn, cutting his skin and feeding on Bryce's terror. Ruhn saw the desperation in his sister's eyes as she tried to protect him, but the situation was critical, and escape seemed impossible. Chapter 76. As the Harpy prepared to torture Ruhn, a golden figure burst in, attacking her. Ruhn was shocked to see that it was Lydia Servos, the Hind, and also Day. Her scent, familiar and enticing, revealed that she was his mate. Lydia fought skillfully against the Harpy, who insulted her and called her a traitor. With calculated moves, Lydia positioned herself so Ruhn could intervene. When Ruhn helped by taking down the Harpy, Lydia delivered a lethal blow, killing her. In that tense moment of calm, Lydia freed Ruhn, Hunt, and Bryce, revealing that she had been a double agent. She explained that she hadn't been able to warn them earlier because Mordok had given Rigilus information, and revealing herself would have meant her death. Bryce, still in shock, realized that Lydia had risked everything to save them, and now they had to escape before reinforcements arrived. Chapter 77. Pollux appeared in the cell, finding Bryce hitting Lydia to fake a fight and protect her cover. However, the monster grabbed Bryce by the neck and lifted her. Hunt, enraged, tried to intervene but was chained. The Hind, maintaining her role, ordered Pollux to release her. As they were taken to Rigilus's throne room, Bryce noticed that her cuffs were loose thanks to Lydia. In the throne room, Rigilus, appearing as a young fae, mocked Bryce and demanded she reveal the names of her allies. Bryce exposed the truth about the Asteri and their control through First Light. Irritated, Rigilus threatened to summon Ruhn's father to torture him. Determined to save her family, Bryce offered to open the gate if they freed Hunt and Ruhn. In a surprising twist, Bryce used her power, broke free of the cuffs, and dashed toward the gate to escape, leaving Hunt and Ruhn behind with a promise to return. Chapter 78. Bryce ran toward the gate, dodging Rigilus's relentless power. Each step brought her closer to the gate that would take her to hell for help. Hunt launched a bolt of lightning to slow Rigilus, giving Bryce the chance to cross. However, the gate took her to an unexpected place. Bryce landed in an unfamiliar world, covered in mist and grass. A winged warrior captured her and, unable to understand his words, took her to an elegant, ancient house. Bryce, desperate, asked to see Ida's or Apollyon, but no one knew those names. Then, she met Reshape, a winged man with starry eyes who introduced himself with a voice like the glorious night. Bryce, confused and exhausted, realized she was not in hell, but in an entirely different world. Epilogue. Ithan Holstrom, transformed into a wolf, watched in the rain outside the astronomer's building, worried about the safety of the mystic wolf on the other side of those doors. There was no news from Pangera, only rumors of an explosion, but his unease grew. When Amelie Ravenscroft appeared in the darkness, his growls warned of the approaching danger. He returned to his human form to answer a call from Flynn, who, with a broken voice, confirmed the capture of Ruhn and Athalar by the Asteri and the death of Cormac. But what shattered Ithan was hearing that Bryce had disappeared. Flynn demanded that he meet them, but Ithan had a mission first. He entered the astronomer's building and found the mystic wolf floating in the tank. He begged her to awaken, aware of the danger surrounding her. After his plea, the lost heir of the Fender opened her eyes, ready to face her destiny. We've reached the end of House of Sky and Breath. Thank you for joining us through Lunathion's mysteries, the Asteri's secrets, and Bryce Quinlan's unbreakable courage. If you like this summary, subscribe, like, and share it with your fellow fantasy fans. Tell me in the comments what shocked you the most, and what are you expecting from House of Flame and Shadow?